Hey everyone, Ronin here, and welcome back to the channel. Got a lot of things to cover today, but before we do that, Nyan thank you very much for your support over on Patreon. And as always, analytics are very important, so please drop a like and a comment to help fuel the algorithm. And if this is your first time here, please don't forget to subscribe and turn on notifications so that way you'll never miss another upload. And if you want to support the channel even further, please consider becoming a channel member or a patron. You get exclusive access to stuff that I don't post on the main channel and early access to everything that I do. But with all that being said, let's get into What If I Wrote the Pokemon Anime Part 24. I hope you enjoy. We open up today's part with Ash, Misty, and Brock as they are back at the Pokemon Center the same night as all of the crazy events that went down at the Lavender Tower. They're discussing everything that they went through, from the fact that Ash had received an egg from Dr. Fuji and how Brock and Misty were basically locked out of the tower, leaving Ash to experience everything by himself with Fuji inside. Because of everything that had unfolded and the fact that the ghost Pokemon seem to be in total control and have some sort of affinity for Ash specifically, the two are thinking that it's best that they just avoid Lavender Tower altogether and forget this notion of trying to capture a ghost Pokemon. Both Brock and Misty even go as far as suggesting this to Ash. However, the boy remains steadfast in saying that this is not something that he can avoid. If he wishes to beat Sabrina, then he needs to capture a Pokemon that's going to give him an edge over her psychic types. Otherwise, he's just going to have this feeling that continues to haunt him forever. However, Brock and Misty double down on their opinions that they shouldn't try this again. Yet Ash remains unmoved by this, stating that if they can't bring themselves to help him obtain a ghost Pokemon, then he and his Pokemon will do it himself. Ash then stands up, taking Pikachu and the egg, stating that they should get some sleep. He will head out first thing in the morning, and he'll see if he has any better luck during the daytime instead of at night, when the ghost Pokemon don't have as much of an advantage in the shadows to hide in. That should at least make things a little bit easier. The boy then turns to walk away, leaving Misty and Brock to talk amongst themselves as they are very concerned with Ash's infatuation with the idea of getting a ghost Pokemon. If he's not careful, then it could lead to him getting hurt, or even worse. However, there's nothing that they can really do right now as they watch their friend walk off to his room. However, there's one thing that they both have to admit. They're feeling the same type of fatigue that Ash is feeling, and whether they want to admit it or not, getting a good night's sleep is the first step in trying to convince Ash that this isn't something that they should be doing. So they both decide that they're going to turn in and head off to separate rooms within the center. Luckily, all of them were able to get their own rooms due to the fact that Lavender Town doesn't get a lot of visitors. So all three of our heroes are going to be able to enjoy an individual night's sleep with their own beds without having to worry about waking up any of their friends. This is where we flash forward to a few hours later. Ash is fast asleep. However, we find the boy tossing and turning in his bed. It seems that Ash is having nightmares about the gym battle that he had with Sabrina. However, this isn't what he remembers from the battle. It feels like Sabrina is overly aggressive, like there's hate and anger filled with every command that she gives her Alakazam during the battle. This is causing Ash to become scared as he's unsure on how to respond. This isn't the same girl that he feels like was asking him for help. However, just as Ash begins to reach a boiling point with the situation, it flashes over to reveal a Pokemon that Ash has never seen before. It's floating in some sort of tube that is glowing in aura, but Ash can feel something coming from it. Anger and rage seems to be festering below the surface. It's the same that he was feeling in Sabrina. No, it's even worse. Sabrina's felt like a cry of sorrow from someone who didn't know who they were. But this thing, it's like a vengeance or a wrath that is seeking absolution. Ash doesn't know what it is, but he can feel that there's some sort of connection between this Pokemon and Sabrina, who he then flashes over again to see that she appears to be sitting in some sort of white room. Sabrina appears to be in pain, and there's a doctor there giving her a treatment that she doesn't want, and she pleads for them to stop. This is the actual first time that Ash has heard the voice of the gym leader, and it's one of agony and pain. The boy doesn't like what he sees, and he immediately proceeds to take action, ordering Pikachu to use its new move, Discharge. But as he gives the command, we fade just outside of the dream to see Ash in his bed as a lone Sableye is using its ghostly powers to influence the dreams that the boy is having, causing Ash a very, very unpleasant night of sleep. However, as we pan out to the outside of the Pokemon Center, we can see that it's not only Ash that's being influenced by the ghost type, but everyone within the building. The next morning, Ash wakes up a little bit later than he normally does. However, as the boy and Pikachu struggle to get out of bed, they feel absolutely horrible. They're groggy, unable to really move, and Ash has no motivation. The boy, looking at Pikachu, realizes that they both managed to share the same dream, and it absolutely sapped them of any strength that they would have for the next day. Even though they were asleep for well over 10 hours, it feels like they didn't get a wink. Man, buddy, we're gonna need some serious rest after this day is over. Hopefully the lack of sleep from the night before won't prevent us from getting a ghost-type Pokemon, Ash says, to which Pika just lets out a really deflated cry of its name before agreeing with Ash, as they both stand up to try and get ready. It takes a while, but Ash is eventually able to drag himself out of his room. However, it's revealed that he's not the only one that had a bad night of dreams, as the entire center itself had a series of unexplained events, and even if the occupants of the center didn't have any bad dreams, they still got to experience something that would continuously wake them up throughout the night, and you could see by the looks on everyone's faces, including Brock and Misty, that no one had a pleasant night's sleep. This is where all three of our heroes all meet up in the dining area of the Pokemon Center, only all to say that each of them look like they're transforming into a ghost Pokemon in tandem. This for Brock and Misty is all the more reason why they should no longer pursue the ghost Pokemon, which they try to convince Ash of. However, the boy is on the exact opposite of that line, as after the dream that he had, he is now more certain than ever that he needs a ghost Pokemon. Misty and Brock didn't really have a dream, but Ash did, and he goes on to explain everything that he had saw. While the two are having trouble understanding what Ash is talking about, they can hear the resolve in his very tired and drained voice. This is a subject that Ash will not be letting go anytime soon, and regardless on if they're going to back him or not, the boy is going to follow through with it, no matter how long it takes. So reluctantly, Brock and Misty decide that they're going to join Ash as the boy prepares to head back to the tower. Departing from the Pokemon Center, the walk through the fog-veiled streets of Lavender Town is a slow one. Our heroes have nearly no energy whatsoever. It's so bad that they can't even lift their feet up off the pavement, merely dragging them along, shuffling as they near their destination. But this is when the trio are going to be met with a very unexpected roadblock. It appears that the police force of Lavender Town, which is headed off by Officer Jenny, has cordoned off the area near the tower. Jenny tells Ash, Misty, and Brock that they can go nowhere near the ancient building, as it appeared that some sort of explosion happened on the top floor the night before. So they've had to section off any path that leads to the tower to prevent anyone from going inside and potentially getting hurt, as they're not sure of the severity of the damage or the cause of it, which means that the structure may be unstable. So until further notice, Lavender Tower is going to be sealed off. Ash very unenergetically tries to plead his case with Officer Jenny. However, she is not hearing any of it, telling the boy and his friends that they need to turn around. They will not be getting through here today. This causes the boy to begin to get upset, which immediately begins to override all of the fatigue that he was feeling as frustration begins to pump through his veins with adrenaline. The boy is not taking this too well, and as they walk away, he begins to make snide remarks about Officer Jenny not really knowing what she's talking about. However, Misty and Brock state that it's probably best that they didn't go in there. You heard what Officer Jenny said. The structure may be compromised, and until they know the extent of the damage, it's not safe to even enter the first floor, let alone the fifth. However, Ash really isn't listening to them, and when they walk down the street away from the tower, the boy notices something. There's a side alley that wasn't cordoned off that has a path leading to the tower. So he tells his friends that he'll be back later before bolting down the alley, stating not to wait up for him, and he will be back as soon as he can. They both yell where Ash is going, to which the boy says he's gonna find his ghost Pokemon, and not some explosion or collapsing tower is gonna prevent this from happening. The two want to give chase after Ash, but truth be told, they're so tired that they wouldn't be able to manage to keep up with the boy. So reluctantly, both Misty and Brock return to the Pokemon Center, only to await Ash's return so that way they can get going. So as Brock and Misty leave Ash to his own devices, we follow the boy as he is walking down the alleyway, trying to find a way that'll lead out towards the tower. However, it seems like he had underestimated this alley, as it feeds into what looks like to be a larger maze of alleyways that cut throughout the buildings. But it seems like every one of them is blocked off or leads to a dead-end high-rise, to which Ash can't do anything about, forcing him to turn around and backtrace his steps until he finds a new way. But this is on repeat for what seems like eternity. Ash even watches as the sun slowly begins to rise overhead as high noon peaks across the town, only for it to begin to set in the opposite direction. That is the boy's signal that he has been spending too much time in doing this, and it's causing him to get a little bit frustrated, though he remains steadfast in the want to capture a ghost Pokemon. It's the only way he's going to be able to battle Sabrina again on an equal footing. So the boy refuses to give in, but his tenacity is going to eventually pay off, as just as the sun begins to caress the horizon and start to set, Ash finds his way into an alley that has a couple of doors. Though he's tried every one of them he's come across so far, this one seems to be different, as one of them is able to open it up. Finally, the boy thinks, thinks, I can get out of this alley and back to a main street. Then I should be able to get back to the tower, no problem. However, as Ash disappears inside and the door closes, the boy finds himself in complete and total darkness. He begins to fumble around a little bit in the dark, asking Pikachu if it can spark up some electricity to provide any type of flashes to make sure he doesn't run into anything, or worse, fall into any type of hole or off a ledge. Luckily, the mouse is able to do so, but it's so black inside of this building that there really isn't much Ash can see in front of his face. So he is forced to walk slowly, carefully trying to find his way through the darkness. But this is when an eerie feeling begins to wash over him and Pikachu, like there's something watching them from within the shadows. However, this isn't a feeling that Ash is unfamiliar with, as it's the same one that he got in the tower. This immediately causes the boy to get excited, as he knows what this means. At once, he commands Pikachu to use a discharge. The electric mouse does as it's commanded, glowing in a blue hue before letting loose with electricity that strikes all aspects of this building from any direction that you can think possible. While it may seem that Pikachu is randomly hitting nothing, truth be told is, it did eventually hit something, as cries of pain echo throughout the darkness. Ash tells Pikachu to keep up the discharge, so that way he can find where those cries are coming from. Luckily, the boy is able to follow the light of one of the blue thunderbolts over to a haunter that was struck with it and seems to have had paralysis set in. It's laying on the floor, trying to get away from Ash. However, the boy says no you don't, as he pulls a ball from his backpack and throws it at the ghost type. In what seems to be a successful moment, Ash watches as the ghost type disappears inside of the ball before it shakes 1, 2, 3 and registers that Ash had caught the ghost type. He can't believe it. After everything that he's been through over the last 2 days, he finally has one that he can use to battle Sabrina. This immediately causes the boy to get excited as he grabs Pikachu, telling it that they need to find their way out of here. They have the ghost type, so that way they can leave Lavender Town. However, as if the boy was being heard by some external force, it seems like a door opens up with light peering through that appears to lead outside. Ash and Pikachu immediately run before the door disappears forever. Luckily, they make it outside, and little do they know, they're actually right by the Pokemon Center. This is very exciting news for Ash, as he's able to get inside very quickly and inform Misty and Brock that he was able to capture a ghost Pokemon, to which the breeder inquires which one it is. Ash states it was a Haunter, but it seems to be paralyzed by Pikachu's discharge, so Ash is going to have Nurse Joy look at it, and while she's doing that, they can get some much needed rest, and then they'll head out first thing in the morning back to Saffron City so Ash can get his rematch. Both Brock and Misty shrug while giving Ash a strange look. However, the boy seems ignorant to this, as he calls Nurse Joy and hands over the Pokeball of Haunter. Don't worry, we're going to meet each other real soon, the boy says, before he tells Nurse Joy to be as careful as possible. He needs it to be in tip-top shape before he goes on to challenge the gym in Saffron City. Ash then turns to Misty and Brock, stating that he's going to turn in. Both him and Pikachu are wiped, and they want to get a good night's sleep as best they can in this creepy town before they head out first thing in the morning. Okay, they both say, as Ash wanders off to his room to visit La La Land once more. All the while, Misty and Brock are wondering if Ash is okay. However, this is something that they're going to have to wait to find out on. The next morning, the trio is up bright and early as Ash is at the center counter. He's demanding that Nurse Joy give back his Pokeball from the Haunter that he had caught the prior day, to which the redhead has no problem doing, telling Ash that he should have a good day, and he might want to also go get himself checked out after all the things that they experienced over the last couple of nights of being inside of Lavender Town. However, the boy seems ignorant to this warning and decides that it's time to move on, so he turns and puts Haunter's ball in his belt before telling Brock and Misty they need to get going. The quicker they get back to Saffron City, the quicker that Ash can have his battle. While the two are concerned about Ash, they are not going to question his motives to get out of Lavender Town, so they eagerly push the boy as they want to get away from this place as quickly as possible. All the while, as the three exit the Pokemon Center, that lone Sableye is watching from a distance from within the shadows, seemingly taking an interest in Ash. It takes a couple of days, but eventually the trio is able to get back to the Pokemon Center inside of Saffron City. Over this time, Misty and Brock were encouraging Ash to try and take it easy. It seemed like the boy was suffering from a bout of fatigue. However, Ash says that he hasn't felt better in a long time. With his new Haunter by his side, he feels invincible. He's so confident in the fact that he's going to be able to beat Sabrina that he's not even going to train with it or get to know it at all. He just feels like it's an auto win against the psychic types of the gym in Saffron. So once Ash gets to the Saffron City Pokemon Center, Ash immediately goes to see Nurse Joy, pulling all the balls from his belt and placing them on the tray, asking for her to look over each one of his Pokemon. He's going to battle the gym again today, and he wants to make sure that every one of them are in tip-top fighting shape. The nurse looks at Ash, a bit confused and a bit concerned, to which the boy reminds her that his Ghost-type Haunter is going to be what gives him the victory, so she needs to pay special attention to it. Nurse Joy doesn't say anything, merely giving Ash and his two friends a look before turning to disappear into the back of the center to look over the Pokemon that she had been provided by Ash. Luckily for our hero, it is still early in the day, so he feels like if Nurse Joy gets done quickly enough, they'll be able to have a battle today. However, Misty and Brock tell Ash that maybe he should take it easy. After all, they did go through some things in Lavender Town, and ever since then, it seems like the boy is off. However, he doesn't know what they are talking about. Ash feels 100% fine. Both him and Pikachu have been raring to go at another battle, and with his his new haunter. The boy feels like he's going to be able to take this no problem and finally earn a 7th badge, and more importantly, figure out what Sabrina was trying to tell them in their battle. The boy then ignores his two friends as they try to talk to him before turning to go to the eatery to get a meal and get ready for his battle. Luckily for Ash, it isn't long until Nurse Joy gives the call over the PA system stating that all of his Pokemon are ready, so Ash should come pick them up as quick as possible. Doing so, Ash is there in a flash, excited that he's going to get the chance to actually battle the gym. He thanks Nurse Joy before telling Brock and Misty that if they want to wait back here, they can. After all, he understands that they're a little uneasy about the Saffron gym, so he will go and he will battle Sabrina. So that way, if there's any danger, it'll only be him and his Pokemon that are put at risk. The boy then walks off before Misty and Brock can even say anything to him. The redhead and the breeder do nothing but shrug their shoulders, as Ash is right. He does know that they are uneasy about facing the Saffron gym again, so maybe they should just let him go handle it. After all, he's been acting extremely weird since the claim that he caught the ghost Pokemon. But as they contemplate their next move of action, we follow Ash as he's walking down the streets in the direction of the Saffron gym. All the while, a lone shadow seems to be casted on the boy, as Pikachu briefly catches onto this before turning his head back as they find themselves at the entrance to the Saffron gym. Ash immediately tries to push on the door, but is greeted by the gym attendant that he had met before, and their two Pokemon, a Drowsy and a Hypno. However, unlike before, the gym attendant's gonna have some bad news, as they state that Ash cannot battle Sabrina today. She's under strict orders not to battle when Giovanni is not around, so the boy is gonna have to come back. This immediately gets Ash mad, as he demands to know what kind of stipulation is that? Isn't Sabrina the gym leader herself? It doesn't matter if Giovanni is her master and mentor. The fact that she's a gym leader means that she has to accept a challenge from any challenger at any point. That's the rules of the Pokemon League. The gym attendant states that this is true, however, that's not going to change the fact that Ash will not be able to battle Sabrina today. So they urge the boy to turn around and go back to the Pokemon Center. He can try again tomorrow or possibly later in the week when Giovanni makes their way back to Saffron City. However, Ash is not going to take no for an answer, and he immediately pushes past the gym attendant, which causes the trainer to demand that Drowsy and Hypno stop the boy using their psychic powers. However, Ash takes his first step into the gym, and suddenly something happens. It's like everything goes blurry for a second, causing both Hypno and Drowsy to stop their attack, as the gym attendant feels something strange. Ash can see this as well. However, the boy simply ignores it, as the gym attendant looks back as it can feel some sort of presence. But this is immediately cut off when Ash pushes forward into the gym, causing the gym attendant to demand that Ash stop as he gives chase to the boy. All the while, on the outside of the door stands a very lone ghost goblin. Sableye seems to be unable to enter the gym, as there seems to be another force that is keeping it at bay, forcing the little goblin to recede into the shadows for the time being as it contemplates its next point of action. This is where we follow Ash inside, as the gym attendant is demanding that the boy stop immediately. Ash is not allowed to see Sabrina for any reason. However, the boy states that there's no excuse. Sabrina has to take his challenge, he yells, but as they come within earshot of the main battle area of the Saffron gym, they can hear what seems to be like a conversation happening between the voice that he had heard from Sabrina back in his dreams and another one that is very unfamiliar. However, it sounds like a little girl as she is giggling as both her and Sabrina engage in conversation. But as the boy turns the corner along with the gym attendant, Sabrina immediately catches on that Ash is here, and in a flash, the girl vanishes. It's barely enough time for Ash to even see what was happening. While he is curious about the girl and who she was and why she just vanished like that, Ash puts it off for the time being, as there is a whole nother reason why he is here, as he demands that Sabrina have a battle with him. Once again, the gym attendant tells Ash that it's not possible. Master Sabrina is unable to battle today. Under orders of Giovanni, he will have to come back another day. However, something odd happens as Sabrina levitates forward with a very blank look in her eyes and a very different tone in her voice than the one that Ash heard only moments before. She states that it won't be any problem for Ash to have a battle with her. After all, it is the rules of the league. However, Sabrina says this with a very monotone sound to her voice, almost like she was programmed by a computer or something. This is where the gym attendant states that Sabrina cannot have a battle unless Giovanni is present, but the leader says it won't be a problem. She will clear Ash just like all of the others before him. This is when Alakazam teleports in, and Sabrina orders the gym attendant out. However, they refuse to leave, stating that Sabrina is not allowed to battle, and they will step in if they are forced to. However, the gym attendant's psychic abilities pale in comparison to Sabrina's, and with a simple glow of her eyes, she teleports the attendant away to parts unknown, leaving Ash a little bit speechless. However, the leader turns to the boy and immediately snaps him out of his shock, stating that he's here for a battle, right? Ash immediately gulps with a nod, not really saying anything. Sabrina then states her terms, saying that they will have a 1-on-6. Ash will use all 6 of his team, while she only use 1. It will be over when either his team is out or her single choice, Alakazam, is out. The girl then teleports to her side of the field with Alakazam in tow. As they take their their positions ready for battle. This causes Ash to begin to grow a little bit concerned. Why is Sabrina addressing him like she's never seen him before? It hasn't even been a week since their last battle, yet the boy seems unfamiliar to her. It's like she is meeting him for the first time. However, Ash isn't going to have a whole lot of time to think about this, as Sabrina demands that he make his first choice, to which the boy steps forward, realizing that it's going to be his time to show off his newest capture, a guaranteed win against the psychic type. Pulling the ball from his belt, Ash declares, "Haunter, I choose you," and throws the ball. However, as it cracks, nothing happens. The ball just flops open as it lands on the ground, motionless, with nothing appearing. It didn't even release the light as if a Pokemon were in it. Ash stares at the ball, confused, unsure of what's happening, while Sabrina looks blankly at the trinket. Panic is beginning to set in for the boy, as he is unsure of what is happening, only for him to begin to look around, demanding that Haunter come out of hiding. There's no reason why it should be doing this. They have a very important gym battle, so the boy needs it to get out here right away. However, a shiver is going to run down Ash's spine as he turns to look at Sabrina, whose eyes are now glowing as she demands to know what the meaning of this is. Ash is to produce his first Pokemon at once. If he doesn't, then he will not like the outcome of what she has planned for him next. As the boy gulps and tries to contemplate his next move, we flash over to an area that is not within the borders of the Kanto region. This place is very ancient and secret to the modern world. It's buried deep within the mountains of a region known as Johto, to the east of the Kanto region. In this place, it is known to be a safe haven for one Pokemon in particular, the very rare and mythical dragon type. It is here that we follow up with the gym leader of Viridian City, Lance, as his Noivern descends from the sky and lands in front of an ancient building. Noivern lets out a brief squawk before Lance tells the dragon that it's fine, not to worry about it. He then recalls his faithful Pokemon before walking up the steps of the ancient structure. Soon, he finds himself in front of two massive doors. The boy lets out one last deep sigh before he musters up his strength to push on the massive doors. As they swing open, Lance hears a few very familiar voices, and one that he doesn't recognize. However, this is where we're going to pan over to where those voices are coming from, as before Lance stands a very old man, and beside him, a dragon-type Pokemon known as Dragonite, the protector of the Dragon's Den and the lands around it, as well as his cousin, the gym leader of the Blackthorn City Gym, Claire, and another person that we haven't seen in a very long time, the son of Giovanni that went missing 2 years back, the one known as Silver. They all look at the flying-type leader as he stares back at them. However, the silence is going to be broken when Claire demands to know what Lance is doing here. He was exiled from the clan, so he has no right to the Dragon's Den. And this is where we are going to leave things for now. So tell me, how did you feel about this part? What did you think about Ash's capture in Lavender Town, and this Haunter that seems to have mysteriously disappeared in his second gym battle with Sabrina? Where did it go? What about the Sableye that was following Ash? Why exactly is it following Ash, and why does it seem that everybody else is acting weird around the boy? And what about Sabrina? Why does it seem like she has never met Ash before? And who was she talking to when Ash got into the gym? What about Giovanni? Where has the champion of the region gone to, and why has he forbade Sabrina from being able to battle anybody while he's not there? And last but not least, what is Lance doing in this place called the Dragon's Den? And why does it seem like his family is less than thrilled to see him? And what about the son of the champion of the Kanto region? What is he doing there? And how will Lance and Silver play into the events that are still to unfold? Let me know your thoughts in the comments down below. Alright trainers, I hope you have your Pokédexes ready, because today we met Abra, Alakazam, Drowsy, Hypno, and Dragonite.